Hi and welcome along to AFTV News Daily. Good to be here today. I've got a very special guest with me today. Ex-Arsenal centre-forward Jay Bothroyd is in the building. Listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you. And I remember the last time, what was it? That was a little while back now.
It was a little while back, yeah. It was when I come back from my off-season in Japan.
Yeah.
So it was back. It's about a few years ago at least.
Few years ago. Well, listen, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. Listen, don't forget today's show. On today's show, we're giving away a brand new PS5. You can see it there in the background there, right? We're giving away a brand new PS5 and 3 brand new Arsenal shirts like the one I'm wearing now. All you got to do is click the link in the description below and enter the competition via Instagram. We're doing this competition with our friends at Midnite. So again, PS5 and 3 Arsenal shirts. Click the link, make sure you do it before the end of the show and get involved in that competition. And you could win yourself a brand new PS5 and 3 new Arsenal shirts. And I'm sitting next to a person who used to wear the Arsenal shirt.
Right, these Arsenal shirts are nice, isn't it?
The new ones are nice.
The new ones are nice. They're good.
You used to wear a nice one. The
Dreamcast one was nice.
That's a legendary shirt.
Legendary.
And just before we get into sort of because we're going to talk about Arteta's press conference, and also as a striker, as you are. Was
40 club now, isn't it? Huh? 40 club now.
40 club. You don't look good. You're looking good, man. I want to ask you about Gabriel Jesus. And also, if you think he could win the Golden Boot this season and, what you've made of him so far. But before we touch on to that, I wanted to speak to you about your career. I mean, you was at Arsenal. Now, anybody who's seen when we did it a few years ago, but I think it's time to refresh people again in case they missed that.
Yeah.
You was at Arsenal. Yeah. Tell us about your time at Arsenal.
I mean, to begin with, I think it was probably the best time to come through the youth system up at the club. Arsene Wenger just came. And it was a big change to everything: diet, training, the strategy of which he wants these teams to play in, and that kind of filtered down all the way to the youth. So it was an amazing time to be at the club. But like I said, it was a bit difficult for me in a sense that I grew up in this area where we are now in North London, and a lot of the people I used to hang around with were some bad boys, and I think I was a product of my environment in the sense that I couldn't switch off from the people I hung around with to then go into training and being around great coaches like Don Howe and Neil Banfield. I couldn't switch off, so I always kind of had that attitude problem, that chip on my shoulder. But still, I loved the game. So even though I was improving as a player, my attitude as I got better was becoming worse because I just felt like I'm the best now, or I want to do this, it has to be done my way, I wouldn't listen to anyone. But I mean, looking back at my career now, being 40, I still achieved everything I wanted to achieve. As in, you start playing football as a youngster, you want to play in the Premier League, you want to play for your country, you want to play in Europe, you want to earn a lot of money, you want to do all these things, and I could have done them at higher heights had my attitude had been right when I was younger, but I still achieved them, and I think, a lot of people say, oh, he's a one-cap wonder, but then I always think, well, how many people get that one cap?
Exactly.
I mean, there's like seasoned Premier League players that haven't played for England before, so for me, I was, it's one of the proudest moments of my career that I could represent my country. But like I said, if I could do things again, I would do things a little bit differently. I'd listen more and talk less. But again, I had a fantastic career, 24 years.
24-year career. You don't look that old enough to listen, I have to ask you about how it ended at Arsenal. It's all
the time. It's funny because I was speaking
it's a very famous ending.
I mean,
fill us in. Tell us how it ended.
All right, the way I see it was different because I was actually speaking to Stephen Sidwell the other day actually, and I said to him like, "How did you see it?" And there's things I forgot because I was just in a daze. I was so angry that he took me off. Again, this is attitude problem. Like I was thinking, how can you be subbing me? Like I'm one of the best players. What are you taking me off for? This is Don Howe. Again, great manager, and I owe a lot to him as well because he, he helped manufactured that player that I was and the career I had. But yeah, I remember we was arguing over a free kick. David Noble wanted to take it, I wanted to take it, and we was going back and forth. And I remember David Noble just went, Jay, like that, and pointed at the bench, and I see my number, and then I just see red. And then it kind of was a blur to me, but then I spoke to Siddy, and he was saying to me that I booted the ball like it almost went out the stadium. I just remember, like, I remember taking my top off, and I remember like kind of throwing it, but I didn't have the intention of like throwing it in his face, but it landed in his face, right? And then, you know, that happened, and then I remember Liam Brady come to me and said, you know, coming in, you know, don't come in training for a week, you know, I'll see you next week, I'll give you a date. So that happened, so then I went back, but in my mind I was still thinking, I don't care, like, I'm still, you know, I'm still one of the best players in the country, I'll just go and play for another team. Again, at the time you don't realise...
Attitude, yeah?
Yeah, attitude. Again, you don't realise what you got until you have to leave and go and experience something else. But I always had that kind of inner confidence, so it didn't bother me that much. And then obviously a few weeks later I come back into the stadium to meet Liam Brady, and I'm waiting in the marble halls, and now I'm thinking, man, I don't really want to leave this. So I go into his office, and I'm sitting there by myself, and then Charlie George walks through, and he's like, and Liam Brady's sitting there now, and he's like, fantastic player, you know, he's going to be one for the future. And then Liam Brady, like, he walked out the room, Liam Brady goes, so Jay, we're putting you on the transfer list. And I was like, I was thinking, that when he said that, I thought, maybe I'm going to be all right here. Maybe I'm going to get a new deal or something. And then he was like, nah. He said, I'm going to put you on the transfer list. What you've done is unacceptable. And we don't want players like that at this club. And it's one of them things where I had to take it on the chin. But again, back then my attitude was like, I don't care.
Let me ask you something, Kerr. Because there was another player who done something. Well, the shirt didn't land in the manager's face, right? But there's another player who's playing now in Granit Xhaka who done a similar kind of thing. All right, it was a more high-profile game. He's still at the club. He's still got a second chance, right? And, you know, I think that he had a good season last year as well. Apart from the red cards, take that out of it, right? Excuse me. Do you look at it and think to yourself, well, you know what I mean? Do you feel a bit hard done by sometimes when you see that, you know, he was actually able to continue, or did you just look at it and say it's two different circumstances?
I mean, the game's evolved now, right? There's a lot more care in it. I think if someone like me came along now, with the ability I do have now, I mean, then I think it would be more like, okay, we're going to send you, you know, for help.
Yeah.
You know, go and speak to someone. We need to work on your anger problems. I think there'd be more patience with me now. There's a lot more help in the game. Whereas back then, it wasn't like that. It was a bit more cutthroat.
Yeah, it was just like, once you've done that, cross the line,
that's it.
Gone.
Yeah, they don't really think about what's going on in your life, what's going on at home, your surroundings. Whereas now, coaches take that all into consideration.
It's a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, I would say that, like, when I see him do that, I didn't like that. Yeah. You know, so I can understand like why people that see me do that would have hated it. You know,
he was like, "Get him out, man! What are you doing?" And then he's like, "Oh, wait, I did that."
Yeah, exactly. I did that. You know, at 16 years old, 17 years old. So, I mean, I didn't like it, but again, there's more help in, there's more leeway now.
Yeah,
there's more leeway, and I think especially if you're a talented player and if you're an asset to the club, I think you can get away with more now. Whereas in back then it wasn't really like that. You know, if you mess with a manager, you know, the manager had more power and the club had more power. Now you see players, there's more player power now. You know, if he stays firm, if he says I want to leave, he can just hold firm and he ends up leaving if he really wants to. But I just think it's time. You know, the game's changed, the game's evolved. Yeah.
I've got a quiz for you. I said to you before the start of the show, you're trying to ask me what the quiz is, right? Let me move my laptop slightly so you can't see it, right? The quiz is, right? How many clubs have you played for? Do you know? Name them. Name the clubs that you've played for.
I think it's about 12, right?
All right.
So, I mean, we're not counting Arsenal, because I didn't actually play. I had a professional contract, I didn't actually play. Coventry.
Yep.
Perugia.
Yep.
Blackburn,
Yep.
Stoke, Wolves.
Yep. Yep.
Consadole Sapporo, Jubilo. This
Yep.
is in Japan. QPR.
Yep.
Now it's getting a bit hazy, isn't it? Now it's getting a bit hazy. How many is that?
I don't know, but you're missing a couple.
Charlton.
Yep.
Charlton. I'm trying to think of my drive in.
These fans are gonna kill you.
Cardiff.
These fans, Cardiff. Yep.
Cardiff.
Right, you got them.
Cardiff's my one, man. I loved it.
Yeah.
Cardiff
That's
was
why
an amazing time.
I was one of your first ones who you would have named.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Cardiff fans. Is that it now?
Is more? Sheffield Wednesday?
I mean, I just etched that out of my brain. I hated that up there, to be honest. And then I got an injury, so I just etched that.
I think that's all of them. Sheffield Wednesday.
And I played for some club in Thailand.
Oh, what club was that then? Is that this club here?
Yeah.
Muntong
yeah.
United.
Like Robbie Fowler went there. I think Pennant went there as well.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a
So
good.
you've had a lot of clubs, man.
Yeah, man. I think.
And what's been where you've listen, you done well. So I remember you at Cardiff. That you were a handful at Cardiff. I remember that.
I remember we played Arsenal actually.
Yeah, I remember that.
In the FA Cup. I was like,
people go, "What did we should have kept him?" You know?
It's funny because I remember that I had that season, and because I was coming to the end of my contract, I actually tried to come back to Arsenal after that, and I remember it was a bit of a difficult time because Arsenal were trying to sign like a high-profile player, and they just said like, "Listen, it's not the right time."
Because you had a good time there, innit?
Yeah. It was. To be honest, I didn't want to leave Cardiff. I really didn't. But you know that England cap that came in that season when I was in the Championship.
Yeah.
I kind of was thinking, you know what? How often can I play for England if I'm in the Championship?
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen that often when everyone's fit. So I need to go into the Premiership to test myself. So if I do well, then I can get called back up again. Because I mean, at the time, the Cardiff owners were offering me the same money that I would have got in the Premier League.
Oh wow!
So it wasn't nothing to do with money. It was more to do with
it's ambition, isn't it?
ambition, and like trying to play at the highest level you can. But leaving Cardiff really hurt me. Like I would have loved to get promotion with Cardiff because it's fantastic. I actually was there the other day, actually doing opening the opening game of the season. So it was nice to see them fans again.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. And of course, right, you spent quite a few years in Japan.
Yeah.
Playing, and a very successful time.
Yeah,
playing
really
in Japan.
nice.
Yeah, they really loved you out there. And also, what I'd like to really find out is that obviously now we've got a Japanese player in Tomiyasu.
Yeah.
How are they with Tomiyasu? How's he looked upon over there in Japan?
Yeah, I mean, he would be like David Beckham.
Wow.
Because when you play in the Premier League as a Japanese player, it doesn't happen often.
Yeah.
So when you have that, and it's someone that's, let's get it right. It's not someone that's just in and around the squad or playing in the under-23s. This is someone that's, he had a good season.
Player.
Yeah,
Oh, he's
he had a
brilliant.
really good season.
I think his injury is one of the things that sort of
Stifled the
cost us
club.
the top four. Yeah, he was a great player. So they love him over there in Japan.
Yeah. I think when you look at him, you can really see the culture in him. Like they're all about, doing things consistently. They're not. You won't really see him have a game that's 9 out of 10, but he's always a 7.
Yeah.
He'll always put it in. He always does. He does the simple things really well. It's unfortunate that he got injuries, but over there they work a lot on repetition.
Yeah.
Like over and over again. So like passing, winning the ball, passing, coming inside, maybe, passing the ball to outside. But he showed that he came in and it just seemed like he slotted right in. So I was really happy for him, actually. I was, I looked at the Arsenal back line, especially, in the middle of the season, and I was like, you know what? Back line is looking pretty solid. It was the other part of the pitches that I was like frustrated with. And I always get stick on this. Like I go on Instagram and I go on, Twitter, and all the fans are giving me stick and whatnot.
That's because you say it as it is.
Yeah, I mean,
you say it as it is. You listen.
People even ask me if I'm an Arsenal fan.
I love reading your stuff because I know that you're a passionate Arsenal fan. Your parents are Arsenal, right?
Big Arsenal. Like, I mean, I could name some names. I won't, but a lot of these guys, some of them are Arsenal hooligans. You know, I was living across the road from. We used to go there, and we used to go to that pub just down there. Before games, after games, go and stand in the clock. I was going there since I was like 4 or 5 years old, man.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so like I've got that in my blood. Like all my family are Arsenal supporters. So like when I see things that are really frustrating to me, like you have to understand that I grew up in an era where, you know, finishing sixth was like, it was, you know, that's a failure. You know, that is just a terrible season. You know, I grew up watching people like Omri, Bergkamp, Carnu, Petit Vieira, leaders like, you know, like Campbell, Tony Adams, Lee Dixon, you know, these kind of players that, you know, they didn't make excuses. You know, I remember, you know, Arsenal used to go down to 10 men plenty of times, but they'd still dominate games. They still came out and it would be like, you could see that personality, you could see that leadership just resonating within the team. And I know we've got a young team now, but that's what I need to see, because the way I look at football is, it doesn't matter how old you are. If you're good enough, you're old enough. You know, so that's what I want to see. I'm happy that Odegaard got captaincy, to be honest. I think he's been a very consistent player. But I need to see him like pointing the finger and kind of bossing that midfield. Yeah. You know, sometimes, you know, you don't, like Steven Gerrard, he wasn't, I look at him and I think that he wasn't like the most vocal like other captains, but he led by example. And I think that's kind of what Odegaard will be, leading by example more than anything else. I think these last few years, I think the Arsenal team's been a bit soft, like on the pitch and mentally. And that's what frustrates me. And I guess, again, it's eras, right? So for me, I look at the era that I came from. I know the game's evolved now, but I still want to see a bit of that. Yeah. And I see a bit of that in like other teams' young players. But with Arsenal at the moment, for whatever reason, it just seems like when everyone's expecting something to happen, when you need that result, you don't get it. Like last year, them 3 games, was it Palace, Southampton? Brighton. Like I'm saying, that's 9 points. With a team like that I grew up watching, that's 9 points, you know, and we didn't win one of them. Yeah, it was. And I think that was what cost us. That's where we lost the season. 100%. I was actually chatting about that the other day, and I was saying that it wasn't the Tottenham game. No. People say Tottenham, Newcastle. Those are always, we could have had enough insurance had we have won those games. Them games wouldn't have mattered. 100%. Or we might have gone into those games saying, what, 1 point out of them 2 and we're nice. Yeah, because you can. I think when you look at Tottenham, I was just saying this just now. Okay, Kane and Son, they're world-class players. But then if you look at the rest of the team, I think I would say Arsenal got a better back line. Yeah. You know, it's touch and go in midfield, but, you know, it's very close. But I think the thing that they had, you know, is Conte. I think he instilled that kind of winning mentality, that aggressive mentality. And I don't think Arteta did that well last year. That's why I've been frustrated. Well, listen, let's hope he's learned his lessons from that. And this season, we're going to see a lot better. Now, of course, tomorrow night, it all kicks off. First game of the season, Arsenal visiting Crystal Palace. We've had an excellent pre-season. The team in pre-season looks sharp. We've brought in players in Gabriel Jesus. I want to ask you about him as a striker yourself. But Gabriel Jesus, we brought in Fabio Vieira. I haven't actually seen him yet because he's been injured. Marquinhos. We brought in Saliba's comeback, and he's looked brilliant. Saliba looks proper. He's looked really, really good. And of course, Zinchenko. So we brought in players, sensible signings, good signings. Couple of them that are Premier League ready, so they know, in Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus, they know what the league's all about. They're winners. They've won things. How are you feeling about the new season now with those additions? Because it's funny, because I was watching this morning, I was watching the All or Nothing documentary. I know you haven't had a chance to watch it yet, you're going to watch it tonight, but I was watching that this morning, and the thing that struck me, they were showing the first 3 games of the season of last year, when obviously we lost Brentford, Chelsea, City. But when I saw the team that played against Brentford, I almost forgot. Like, that first game, we were so unprepared. You know what I mean? There was no Aubameyang, no Lacazette. They were out with COVID. None of the new signings played apart from Ben White. But you say that. This is the thing. Like, I look at that, right? And we say that, but the players that did play, they're still better than Brentford players.
Yeah,
Without being disrespectful.
They were better than Brentford
Talented.
players. But I'm just saying that I'm not saying that we shouldn't have won that game. We shouldn't have been going to Brentford and win it. But I'm saying that we were missing in comparison to tomorrow's game, where literally I think we got a very strong team going into that game.
Yeah.
I didn't think we had a very strong team when you look at our players going into that game last season. You know, Bukayo Saka was on the bench. He came on after about 65, 70 minutes, you know, because he was just coming back off of England duty.
Right,
so
yeah.
I really
Confidence
do think...
was low as well with him after what happened. Abuse and everything.
Yeah, so now's a chance to go tomorrow to Crystal Palace, right? The TV companies lined it up because they thought, oh, this could be another Brentford moment, right? We know what they're up to. But this is a chance for Arsenal to go there and make a statement tomorrow to say, you know what, this season we're going to be serious.
Yeah.
Do you think they can do that?
I mean, going to Selhurst Park, the first game of the season, is going to be a tough one anyway. Because I think Palace are not a bad team. You know, Vieira's got them organised. You know, there's some young blood in there doing really well. There's some talented players. But again, Arteta spent the better part now of 350 million. Arsenal's had a fantastic season, pre-season, sorry. Like you said, Jesus is on fire. And I think as a forward as well, like, I don't really look at pre-season results, but, you know, being a forward myself, if I'm banging goals in pre-season, when it comes to that first game in the season, it seems like for a forward, it's important because you hit the ground running. You know, if you go into the season and you're like 1 game's gone, 2 games gone, 3 games gone, and you're not scoring, you're like, bloody hell, man. Now it starts, you know, it's on your mind now. So I think the fact that he's been scoring for fun in pre-season, I think that will give him that confidence to start the season. I love the Zinchenko signing. You know, you see what he was doing, you know, for Man City last year, you know, when he came on and was like influential to the way they finished that game. You know, I think he's a fantastic signing, and I think Tierney is good, but he's always injured. And that, I can't really hold that against him. You know, sometimes you're just unlucky. It can go like that. But he's still young enough to, like, you know, get back in the team. So I think that's a good signing where you've got 2 players that are both quality. I think Zinchenko has a bit more, like he can come inside and link up, he can dribble a bit better, where I think Tierney's a bit more one-dimensional. He's just kind of up and down that, like a traditional left back or wing back. But I think it's been some really good additions, and I'm looking forward to the game, to be honest. But I think if Arsenal are gonna be in that top 4, as far as I'm concerned, listen, that is the absolute minimum, top 4. All the money he's spent, where the team finished last year, the next step is top 4 or a title challenge.
Oh, listen, a title challenge? Slow down.
Oh, he's saying that no, hold on. He's saying that he ain't finished in the transfer window, right? Yeah. So okay, so who's he bringing in? I mean, I still think, as much as I think Jesus is a top signing and a top player, I had this argument with loads of people on AFTV the other day, by the way. I still think that Arsenal need a real striker. Like, can you imagine if we had someone like Laura Martinez, and then Saka on the right and Jesus on the left? That would be one of the best strike forwards in the league. Like, I'm not saying that he's not a good
this
forward.
Is his time.
Yeah, but
this is his time to be a striker.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that.
Remember Henry?
Yeah.
Played out wide and then...
Yeah, but Henry's Henry, man. That's
I know Henry's Henry. Listen. But remember, he played out wide at first, wasn't he? He was always
he was right wing, wasn't he?
And then it was like,
Monaco and Juve.
Put him down the middle, and then this could be... Because Jesus' movement I've seen.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
His movement and his sharpness in front of goal has really impressed me. But it has been pre-season, like you said.
No, I mean, people was like saying, "Oh, do you not?" It's almost like me saying I don't rate the guy. Like, I rate him highly. I think he's a top Premier League player. I'm just not sure, is he the guy that's going to score 20 Premier League goals in the season? I don't think there's many. Don't get me wrong.
That's the problem, isn't it?
There won't be many.
You're mentioning Lautaro Martinez. You know, Inter ain't going to sell him. You look at Chelsea at the moment. They're desperate for a striker.
Yeah.
They're having to turn to, and they're saying, go for Aubameyang.
I know that. I see that today.
You know, which is, you're thinking, wow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just shows you that there's a real lack of quality strikers.
But the only thing is, what I would say is that, because I was thinking about this, and you're right. I'm not saying, you know, Laura Martinez might cost, I don't know, 60, 70, 80 million, who knows? You know, the guy at Napoli, I forgot his name, but he's good. I said that before as well, but I think
they were 100 million for him.
But remember, Arsenal spent Arteta spent 350 million, right? And some of those players that he has bought and invested in, they haven't played. Like some of them are young players as well, like, you know, Tavares, for example. Is it the guy in midfield, Sambi Lokonga. Yeah, Lokonga. He hasn't really played that much. And I know that they're investing in the future, and that's important. But I think Arsenal now, for where they're at, and I think for what the fans want, you know, when I speak to my old man and we're talking about it, I think Arsenal need the now. Like, I'm tired of like the process. I want the now. I need to see results now, because everyone's been waiting far too long. You know, how long Arsenal been at the Champions League for now? It's like, it's getting ridiculous, and it's like, I'm tired of hearing excuses and, oh, but he was injured, and everyone's got injuries. That's the whole reason why you got a squad. You have to build that squad and make it as best as you can with the resources you have, and then you have to coach, right? But I just hear a lot of excuses from Arsenal fans, and I don't really like that. You know, everyone goes through tough times, everyone has injuries, but they deal with them. And the thing that annoys me is when you expect something from Arsenal, like last year, I had expectation now. You know, it started off poorly, but then we went on a fantastic run, won games, looked really good. And then the back end of the season, the business part, where now you're in a great position, you're meant to do it. You know, you've got a good, you look at the fixtures, Southampton, Brighton, Palace, and then all of a sudden it's just, it goes completely the other way.
I know you're bringing back bad memories, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Let's be more positive about the season ahead. But yeah, I mean, for me, it has to be top 4.
Your expectations for this season is minimum top 4.
Yeah, I think it has to be.
Fair enough. By the way, some comments coming in here. Benny with a super chat says, Robbie, you set the man up to slaughter him with that quiz. No, I just looked at it, I was like, he ain't gonna remember all them clubs, man. Right? Paul says, Jay, what's your favourite teammate during your Arsenal career?
As in to play with, I'll probably go with Jermaine Pennant or David Noble, purely because they would give me assists. But my best friend from it is Graham Stack. He's godfather to my son. I've known him since I was 9 years old, so yeah, that's what it'll probably be.
Benny also says, Benny's, by the way, is from the US. He says, also the English FA is not setting up a friendly between our women teams. How will you lot deal with 2 losses to the USA in a year? Of course, England are playing the USA in the World Cup as well. By the way, I saw some of your comments about the women. They were fantastic, weren't they?
Amazing.
You loved it, innit? They were fantastic.
I think, you know, it's like they almost brought the nation together again. Like they gave out, you know, 90,000 people for, you know, a women's game's unheard of, you know, and it was just like, it was amazing. Like, you know, I was sitting there just like, you know, it was so intense, you know, you want them to win so much. And when they did it was like, you know, complete jubilation for everyone. Like, I, you know, everyone just tuned in. There was people that, you know, don't watch football, don't like football, that was just tuning in because it was such a big deal. So, I mean, it was great that they done that. And, you know, there were some real quality performances there. And I think big credit as well, the manager.
The goal was brilliant. The pass and that chip.
That finish, when she was going through on goal, I was thinking, what's she going to go round her? Yeah. Like, I was like, and then she done that, I was like, wasn't expecting that. And it was just like, is that going in? And it seemed to take like an eternity to hit the back of the net, but it was a fantastic finish. Yeah, that was really
They play like in Japan. They must have a good women's league, right?
Yeah, they had a really good women's team at one point. I think they won competition. I think they might have won the World Cup. But yeah, again, they was really good. I think, you know, how you would expect the Japanese women to be like, you know, small, nippy, technically good. But now I think, you know, England. If you look at England, even Germany played well. To be fair,
they did.
They were strong.
I thought in the second half they were a better team.
Yeah, they done well. They had some chances, but again, man, we did it. We got to put the ball in the back of the net.
We did it, and you like this one. This is Zar Raps. He says, "Big up Robbie and Jay. The man's 40 and still looks like he's in his 20s."
Boy, it's a good life, isn't
it? We need some of what he's got, right? Josh says, my top 6 is first, he's saying Man City, second Liverpool, third Spurs, fourth United, fifth Arsenal, and sixth Chelsea.
Nah, No,
he's a United fan as well. You can tell.
Oh, he's a United fan.
You can tell by his avatar.
Some United fans as well are a bit disillusioned, but no, I'm joking. No, I think I'm going with Man City as well. I like Haaland, even though he missed some chances the other day. You could see his movement was really good, and I think as a forward, coaches would always tell you, if you're not getting them chances, that's the problem. If you're getting the chances but you're not scoring, it's going to come.
Yeah.
He could have had a hat-trick the other day. His movement was fantastic. He's strong. He gave Van Dijk, who's really strong, powerful, fast, aggressive. He gave him a tough time.
And not many people do they?
Exactly, yeah. Normally, like Van Dijk's like a Rolls Royce, man. He just coasts through games like this is easy work. Like kind of, how Rio was back in the day.
Yeah.
Just coast through games. And then you look at Nunes. Actually, I see a few Liverpool fans hammering him, but then he came off the bench and he done really well.
Yeah,
he scored a goal.
Looked a handful.
Yeah, he looked a handful. But that's what I mean. Like, you look at these teams. Like, if you look at a lot of the successful teams, Man City have coped without a striker, but they've signed one. They wanted one.
But they cope without a
But
striker.
then you see
they've got
Liverpool,
loads of other.
And Liverpool did the same. You've got Salah scoring 30 goals a season. You've got Mane 20. You've got Jota 20. So they dealt with it, but they still want a striker. If you look at all the teams that have done well in Real Madrid, Benzema, Barcelona teams, Etu, David Villa, they had Luis Suarez, Bayern Munich, Lewandowski. They always have a focal point.
So maybe Jesus can be that man. Do you think he could win the Golden Boot?
I would love him to. But I can't see it.
Who's going to win it for you then? Golden Boot this season?
I think Kane will.
Kane?
Yeah, I think the thing about Kane is he's just adding to his game. If you look at his game now, he's starting to modify his game as he's getting older. Before you talk about him being a fox in the box. Now all of a sudden he's dropping deep. He's playing through passes. He's arriving in the box.
That's why I don't think he'll win it though. I was asked a question today. I think Salah. I think Salah will win it because number one, he always scores loads and loads of goals. Now it's just him. He doesn't have to pass to Mane no more.
But I was thinking that.
I think he will score. And I've got a shout for Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not saying
it's a sneaky fiver on Jesus.
Listen, Jesus is my dream team.
Yeah,
Jesus is my dream team. He's in my dream team. I'm hoping, but I tell you one thing. It's funny you say that because about Salah, because I was thinking the same thing, but then I was like, actually, for me, Mane was Liverpool's best player.
I always feel that as well.
I think he was unselfish. I thought he brought a lot to the team. When he doesn't play well, when he doesn't score, he still plays well. Yeah. Whereas I've seen Salah go through games where he hasn't scored.
Tail end of last season, he dropped right off Salah, didn't he? But
how long did he score a goal for?
He still scores the goals though, man. I think it's a goal machine.
That's why I was kind of thinking to myself that now Mane's gone, a lot more of defence's focus will be on Salah.
Yeah. True.
Because before they had to cover both sides. Now Diaz is a quality player, don't get me wrong, but so far I haven't seen the goal threat that Mane was.
No.
And Salah is. So now, we're going to have to see, he's going to have to step up his game and get 20 goals like Mane would.
Some more comments coming in here. Maddie says, people saying they need results now. It took Jurgen Klopp 4 seasons to win his first trophy at Liverpool. Compared to Liverpool's process, I think we're doing all right. People underrate his FA Cup win.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It's a fair point. But I think I'm looking over the totality of it, as in, I'm just frustrated with the Arsenal. How long has Arsenal been in the top 4 now?
Was it 5 seasons? 4 or 5 seasons?
That's what
5 seasons.
That's what I'm frustrated with. I want to see Tuesday night, Wednesday night football, Champions League. I want to listen to that music.
When we missed out on it last
That's what
year.
I mean. That's what
I really was.
And we was in the key position. Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what? Funny enough, when I was sort of analysing the season last year, right, the 2 teams, people would say Conte, and I said I was on Gary Neville's overlap the other day, and I was saying this. Everybody says how great Conte was, but was he? It was us who threw it away. Because let me say, right. At one stage, it was in their hands, and they threw it away and handed it to us. Then we threw it away and handed it to them, and then they nearly threw it away again. I remember we played Brighton, we lost to Brighton. They played Brighton the week after, they lost to Brighton.
Yeah, I remember.
Then they scraped to win over Burnley at home, which was very controversial. Remember they got that controversial penalty?
Yeah.
They weren't that great. It was us. What annoys me is we handed it to them on a plate. The only game I look at in that run and I say, fair play, that was a Conte masterclass. When they went to Liverpool, they got that draw.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah.
But honestly, they were trying to throw it away as well, right? It was us who threw it away, and that's what I'm hoping with these players that have come in that are more experienced, like your Zinchenko's and Jesus, and I'm hoping that they're going to bring something of more quality and know-how and nous. There's some of those games that we lost, you know. I mean, when we lost to Southampton, we created so many chances. It's going to put none away. We didn't have I mean, for you as a striker, you must have been frustrated last season, seeing the lack of goals. There's only really Eddie Nketiah at the end of the season when he got a chance, who scored some goals. But, you know, Lacazette, 6 goals, I think it was, for the season.
I mean, that's not good enough, is it? Let's be honest. But, I mean, one thing I would say about Lacazette is that, to be fair to him, his overall contribution to the team was pretty good. He worked hard.
Listen,
he held the ball up.
But
you need someone to put the goal in the back of the net, ultimately. And we didn't have that.
Yeah.
I think, you know, if someone asked me the question the other day, if you could keep Lacazette, I know he wanted to go, I think, in the end, but if you could have kept Lacazette, would you? And I'm one of those people that would be like, well, yeah, I probably would keep him, just because he's good at there's going to be games when you need someone to like hold the ball up and really put a shift in. And
I liked Lacazette. He's a good team player, but
that's what I mean. Like, I think he had a good attitude.
Yeah.
I think he had a good attitude. I think you could see the players, you know, the players kind of liked having him around in the dressing room. Everyone spoke really well of him. So even though he wasn't scoring, I think he still would have been good for the squad. But I mean, he wants to play, and at Arsenal he wasn't going to.
By the way, in your time at Arsenal, ever have any speakers set up? I mean, I know you haven't watched the All or Nothing.
I heard about it though.
Yeah, but you've seen that clip where they bring the speakers out and set it up and play "You'll Never Walk Alone." Ever happened in your day?
No. To be honest, when I heard that, I was like, I couldn't believe it. Like, so I thought someone was winding me up when they was telling me, but I was like, I've never heard something like that before. I mean, the only thing I've heard with speakers is, you know, sometimes we used to go away with the England youth and, you know, you'd have the coach on the side speaking through like a tannoy. But to hear music from another team's, you know, another club's song, like it, I mean, I don't know how that would motivate. I don't know what benefit you would get out of that.
You'd have kicked the speaker over, innit?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't know what benefit you would get with that. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It was like, but, I mean, did it work?
We lost 4-0.
That's what I mean. I mean, when we've done that this season.
VJ said, big up to Jay, would you rather have a defensive midfielder or a winger? Gakpo or Sangare, he's saying. What would you rather? If we were only to make one more signing? Midfielder?
Yeah. 100%.
Would you have Tielemans?
Yeah. Tielemans, yeah. I think Arsenal need it. I don't want to sound disrespectful to the players, but when you look at Chelsea, Man United, well, actually not Man United so much, but Liverpool, Man City, I think they've got a really good midfield. I'm not sure. Like, I think Odegaard, I'd say yes, very good player. But then after that, I'm looking and I'm saying
Partey.
I mean,
hasn't done it for you yet.
He hasn't. He played a couple of games last year before he got injured again.
Yeah, and
towards the back
good,
end, and he was looking good. Yeah, and I thought, this is good.
He's looked good in pre-season, to be fair.
Yeah,
but
then
I'm looking away from.
That's what I mean, and I'm saying Partey, okay, but then I'm like Xhaka, El Neni. I think Arsenal need someone in that injury room that is like composed. Because the way, if you look at the way Arsenal play, and Arteta wants them to play, he wants people to like go back into the box, take the ball, turn and distribute, like kind of like a quarterback, like Pirlo, like that kind of role. And I don't think when I look at our team, I don't think you would look at even Xhaka and say he's great at receiving the ball and maybe running it out of defence, or taking it and distributing it. I think a lot of Xhaka's game is winning the ball back, and he frustrates me because he plays sideways a lot and back. I think when you have the players like Saka in the team and Jesus now and Martinelli, you want to be like hitting those players early, get turned bang straight into your front man.
To be fair, they were doing that in pre-season, and that's one of the things I want to see them, especially it's going to be of real interest to me to see if they carry that through into the game against Crystal Palace, because I remember last year against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, they swarmed all over us. They didn't give us any time. They had Conor Gallagher in the midfield.
They lost him now, though.
They've lost him, yeah. They were swarmed. You didn't get a minute's peace. And that's how they won the game.
Is Salisu, what's his name, the wide player, Salisu?
I think he's injured.
He's injured, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he's injured. But Eze's back, and apparently he's had a very good pre-season. Is a very good player. And obviously Zaha, who's a top quality player.
Yeah.
Always a threat. And you know, and
again, he's a top.
They had that Mateta as well.
He started doing well as well, didn't he? Towards the end of the season.
He's about as tall as you, if not taller.
Taller, yeah. But I think let's not get it twisted here. I want Arsenal to start the season well, but that first game of the season is always really hard because no one's match fit yet.
Yeah.
Like you say, a good pre-season, but you don't get match fit until about 3, 4, 5 games into the season.
Yeah.
Right. So it's going to be.
You don't think even after a pre-season you're fully matched?
I mean, just listen. I know it's a championship, but you look at the championship. A lot of the first games of the season, they were like 1-0, 1-0, 0-0. Like it's cagey more than anything else, and I think you'll probably see that tomorrow. You know, you might see like Man City tuck someone in or Liverpool, but generally it's really hard because as much as you do the drills, you do the running exercises. You know, it's a pre-season is really tough, but Premier League football and you know, pre-season football is completely different. So if I see like a 1-0 win and a decent performance, I'm happy. I'm really happy with that because it shows intent. You got the first 3 points on the board, and then you go from there.
Okay. Looking at some of the things that Mikel Arteta said in his press conference, they asked him about how different this game is to last season's. And this is what he replied and said. He said, well, it's different. Obviously, everything that happened before the game was pretty strange and unique. He's on about last year. The preparation, the pre-season that we've had, it was a different context. He says, we're really excited. We're really looking forward to the new season. We will try to start in the best possible way. And this is how we have focused our preparation.
Yeah. I think it's good words. I think it's positive. Again, the only thing is I don't like comparing like last season to this season.
It was a horror show.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but again, when you look at, you know, Brentford, I still think that Arsenal have more talented players than Brentford. That's why they play for Arsenal. You know, so to say, oh, we wasn't prepared. Well, you still got players that are better than the Brentford players. So you need to motivate them.
Yeah.
You know, because I remember when I was coming up, it would be like, you know, you playing against. I remember I was just talking actually to a guy called Wayne Gray when we was younger, and he was like a really strong, powerful forward, really fast. And I remember like Don Howe and Neil Bamford would just say, listen, you're better players than them, technically. You're playing for Arsenal for a reason. If you don't match their work ethic and their hunger and their desire, they will beat you. But then it's obviously up to you to go out and match that. If you match that and you're motivated and you have that desire, the quality will always rise to the top. You know, you'll see it. So that's why I feel a bit disappointed that, you know, you shouldn't be comparing last season to this season. That was just a poor performance. You know, I don't want to hear about injuries and excuses like that. Arsenal Football Club is still Arsenal Football Club. It's one of the biggest in the world. You play for Arsenal Football Club because you're a top player. And that's that. You know, this year, yes, some fantastic signings, good pre-season wins. There's been really good wins, a lot of goals. Jesus is on fire. Zinchenko's in there. We haven't seen Vieira. We haven't seen him yet, but I did see him play in the Portuguese league, and he has a bit of that Bernardo Silva about him. He doesn't look physically imposing, but he takes the ball, he's comfortable on it, he's touching it, he's inviting tackles and nicking it past people. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Odegaard, for me, he's a fantastic player, and to be perfectly honest, the jury was out for me when he first came. I think the fact that, you know, he was kind of going around on loan all the time, and his stature, I thought, is he okay for the Premier League? But last year was fantastic. He's getting assists, he's having shots. He was pretty consistent, and you know, now he's been rewarded with captaincy. So you know, there's a lot of expectation for him. I mean, Saka. I mean, the only thing I'm upset about Saka with is that, you know, the club haven't just gone, you know what, here's 200 bags a week.
Well, they're working on a new contract with him, apparently.
Well, listen, if Foden's just, is he signing a contract for 150?
Foden's on about 200, I reckon, now.
Well, okay, well, then he needs to be like around that kind of... People, you know what people don't understand, yeah? People think that players don't speak about money. You know, no one cares anymore about the money you earn within your team. People's on thinking about, well, Foden's on 180, 200 grand a week. I want to be on that. And he has a power now. Saka's in a position where he can demand things and say, I need that money now. Because if you don't give it to me, I'm going to be out of contract in 18 months or something like that. Liverpool and Man City, or
listen, stop talking like this.
I'm talking like it's because it's real.
Yeah, you're being
I'm talking like it because it's real. And I'm telling you from a player's point of view. Like, this is the way players think. No player is going to go into the media and say, yeah, you know, I'm looking for this amount of money. Like, even Haaland said one time in an interview, it's not about money for me. And then, you know, I said, it is about money. Players want to get paid. You know, they've got a short window, you know, so if you to maximise.
You was at Cardiff, and when you was at Cardiff, for instance, you're banging the goals in, and you're playing really, really well, and then you find out that there's another striker, I don't know, at that time at Sheffield Wednesday, who's getting more than you. You want the same.
No, I'm saying I think nowadays, the game's changed. As in, back then, I mean, first of all, back then you had to like really play well to get a new deal. Now you get big money just for potentially being good. Like, back then you had to really work your socks off to earn that contract, earn that money. Now you see, you know, I know that there's youth team players that are like 17, 18 years earning 7 bags a week.
I saw some guy, they reckon that Chukwuemeka, who's just gone to Chelsea, was demanding 100 grand a week from Aston Villa, and they were saying to him, well, hold on a minute, there's players here, established players, are not even getting that.
Exactly.
And he's like, if I don't get that, then I have to go, and he's gone.
And someone's giving it to him.
But the
thing is, I love Saka, and I really hope that he does stay, but I think, again,
got to match him.
Put in my kind of football head on, from a player's point of view, and I know from agents that have spoken to me in the past of, you know, you'd be saying, I need to see where Arsenal finish this season. If they're finishing in the Champions League spot, okay, now I'm signing my deal, this is what I want. If they're not, then it's a case of, does he really love the club? Because if you love the club, then you'll stay. And if the money's, you know, right, if I don't know, Man City might offer him like 160 grand a week. If Arsenal can only offer him 140 and he loves the club, he'll take it, right? But I think now Arsenal are in a position where they've signed the players. Arteta spent the best part of 350 million since he's been there, since he's been manager. I think now is the year where Arsenal need to be in that Champions League if they're going to attract better players and keep the best players that they already have.
All right, some more comments there. Lucien says, with which 2 to 3 signings that we missed out on since 04, do you think would have made a big difference? That's what he said, since 04.
You know. Well, boy, I was reading something to that, like, what, Ronaldo, Messi?
I know, we missed out on so many. Yeah. And Benny says, Robbie, I had an American football coach who did that all the time, would blast the other team's songs and chants throughout practice. Help you to focus a lot.
Really? I mean, again, just from a player's point of view, like when I went on the pitch, I don't really pay attention to what was... I never heard that, you know, I played against Liverpool, I never heard their song. I just was focused on the game. You know, you don't hear fans giving you abuse, you know, unless you really go and take a throw-in or something, or the game stops or something like that, and you're walking towards someone and you really hear someone saying something to you, you don't really pay attention until that game stops. You know,
so like the atmosphere, what you're saying is, if you go and play a team that's like Palace tomorrow, they've got a great atmosphere at that stadium.
Yeah.
You're saying if you're focused... Oh, sorry, we've got a problem with audio. Alright, we're just going to sort this out. One sec. Right, we're back. We're back with Jay. Where was I at? The guy who was talking about the music, the speaker stuff. I don't don't know. I lost my chain of thought now where we was.
No, saying in America they do it quite regular.
Yeah. But listen, I'm really enjoying having you on here today because it's really giving me an insight. And you know what I really want you to do, right? Because we're going to have you back on, definitely.
Yeah.
And I really want to find out what you make of that documentary, All or Nothing.
Yeah,
right?
I'm intrigued.
For like somebody like me and thousands and thousands of people out there who watch that, we've never been in a dressing room of a football club. We don't know what it's like. I'd like to find out from you when you watch it, so you to say, well, actually, they missed out a lot of type of things that happened, or what, you know what I mean? It'd be really intriguing to find out. I watched it this morning. I did enjoy it.
You did enjoy it?
I did enjoy it, yeah. It did give me a bit of an insight, even though I know...
Was you pleased with it, though? Based upon what happened last season, what was your thoughts based upon last season?
All they've shown so far is the first 3 episodes. So they went right up until the game against Everton.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that was a horror show last year. I remember being at that game. That was... it sort of give a little insight and sort of show you... Do you know what it is, right? I feel that what it might help with in watching it is us as fans give us a bit more of a connection with the players, give us a bit more understanding. One of the things I've always said as a football fan is that I feel sometimes clubs, they just circle the wagons on everything. They never want to, be a bit more open, right? And it's just little things like what you just said there. You were saying about Saka. We don't always want to hear that as a football fan, but it's the reality, isn't it? Is that if the next couple of seasons Arsenal don't match the ambitions of Saka, which is, he's good enough and should be playing in the Champions League, his agent will come to him and start saying, yeah, Bakaya, man. City are interested, Liverpool are interested, and you end up losing those players. So it's very important that we match those, and that's the reality of modern day football. And I have no doubt in my mind that Saka loves the club. I have no doubt in my mind that Smith Rowe, all those guys love the club. I know no doubt in my mind that when you were there, you loved the club. But
I still love the club.
Reality. You still love the club, but that's the reality of the football, isn't it? Is that you're also thinking about your career.
Let me give you an example.
Your career in football.
Let me give you an example. I won't say the player's name, but this is fact. I went out in when I was at QPR. So I went in town one night. We was in a place called Mamunya on Knightsbridge, and we went out. I was having a few beers, and we was drinking. We was watching Champions League football, and there was a player at Arsenal at that point, and he wanted a new contract. His contract's coming to an end. He wants a new contract. Other clubs are swarming around him. I won't say the club because then it's easy to work out, but other clubs are swarming around him. Arsenal offered him a deal for like 100 grand a week, and another club come and offered him 150. And I remember he said, I don't want to leave Arsenal. I love the club. It's like the best club in the world. I love the facilities. I love where it is. I love the manager, everything. But it's still 50 grand a week more. You take it because at the end of the day, what people don't understand, yes, it's a club that we supporters love, but at the end of the day, it's still a job, right? And you're doing something to get paid for it, and because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You might get injured, you might break your leg and have a career-ending injury. You need to earn the most you can in that short space of time, in 15, 20. There's not many players that does have a 20-year career. So you need to earn that money in that small window to look after yourself. It's generational wealth, for your kids, for your kids' kids. That security, give them the best, opportunities in life for your family. There might be people, we've seen it with Mane. He gives his village money. He might, all these things, they come into context. People say, this person's earning such and such, and this person in such and such. What's the difference? And
sorry to write. I love these guys in the comments. They're all trying to work out the player that you're talking about. I was like Oxlade-Chamberlain, Gnabry, Robbie Van Persie, Ashley Cole. They're all in there.
I ain't saying nothing. Yeah, I know.
These are sharp, man. I'll tell you,
I ain't saying but yeah, he was saying to me that in the end I had to go because of that reason. And that's the reality. Like, player, especially in this day and age now. Like, back in the day, like, I mean, Roy Keane always says it on television, like, players going up to each other, embracing each other before games, hugging each other, like, everyone wants to be friendly. Before, like, when you go out on the tunnel, I remember, like, you see every single player, they was just, like, staring down the tunnel, like, I ain't interested in who I'm playing against, I'm focused. Now it's like, it's completely different. Everyone's hugging each other, everyone's embracing each other. Win, lose or draw, there's laughs, there's smiles, people are talking to each other. The game has changed. But at the end of the day, now, players are talking about money. When they meet up with the England squads, they're talking about what they've got, what's going on their training ground, how good it is, you know, and it turns other people on. You know, so when, you know, Saka now, for me, is one of the best wingers in the country.
Definitely.
Easily. And you look at that, and he's like, what is he on for that? Is he still on 30 grand a week or something?
No, I heard he's on about 75, but I heard that they're looking to at least double that. They have been working this summer, I think, on a new contract for him, and the talk is that he's going to sign a new contract.
But it wasn't long ago that he was on, like...
He was on 35.
35, and I'm
35
saying...
grand.
So while Aubameyang is earning, was it 300...
325 or something like that.
He's earning 30 odd.
And he was our best player.
And he's the best player. And, I mean, the reality is, like, he's going to meet up with these players that play for Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, and they're kind of around these age, and they're going to be saying, well, this is what I'm earning. Because I've seen it, I've heard it.
They've really cut the wage bill, actually, at Arsenal. I mean,
Well,
some
Aubameyang
of the
Aubameyang,
Aubameyang, Lacazette as well was, you know, there was a lot of real high earners there. Yeah. There's still a couple more. That they're looking to move on.
Robbie, I'm not saying football's just about money. I think you have to love football. Like, there's some people that don't love football that are footballers, but the majority of footballers that do make it love the game. And when you're really good at the game, money follows it. But now it's kind of gone from, you know, like, look at Salah. Salah's not holding out to be, you know, the highest paid player at Liverpool. He's saying, I want to be the highest paid player in the Premier League, because the club is saying he's the best, one of the best in the world. He's the best in the league. That's what the club is saying. Well, pay me like the best in the league.
Yeah.
That's the way people think nowadays. That's why players, agents, that's why they think.
Well, we're coming towards the end of the show now. It's just flown by. I've got to get your predictions for tomorrow. Crystal Palace away. First game of the season, the curtain opener. Huge game.
Yeah.
Prediction.
I'm going 2-1 Arsenal. And the reason why I'm going 2-1 is because Zaha always seems to, like, have a good game against Arsenal.
Yeah.
He always seems turned on, but I think, like we said, great signings. I think Jesus will score. And I think one thing I would say about this squad, the only thing I would say about this squad compared to the last squads, is I think there's a bit more depth now.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Arsenal needed.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you about Eddie Nketiah, because you know, he's going to get his chance this season. He's come through the ranks. You know what I mean? He's come up through the system like you was in the system.
I'm happy for him.
Pleased for him. You know, that this season, I saw him. I was over on the pre-season tour in Florida. Yeah. And I was like pitch side, right? And he walked past. I was like, hey, this guy's been in the gym, man. He's bulked.
He goes to the same gym as me, man.
Is it?
Yeah, the same guy that trains me as well. Yeah.
No, for real.
For real.
No, he's bulked, man.
Yeah, I know.
He's bulked. He looked like...
That guy's
I saw him last year. I was like, he looked quite small, but he's like, he looks serious and really focused to me. It's a guy that I'm really hoping and praying has a big season. I thought taking that number 14 shirt was a really brave thing to do.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's a big shirt, isn't it?
It's a big shirt. Does it matter? Well, it does matter in a way.
You know what the thing is? Shirts to me are nostalgic. Shirts to me are still nostalgic. So when I think about number 10s, I'm thinking about Bergkamp. When I think about 14, I'm thinking about Henry. I think about 4, I'm thinking about Vieira.
Come on, man.
That's a big shirt, though.
You described yourself how you was.
Yeah.
You always backed yourself. You would have took it, wouldn't you?
No, I think you have to have that self-confidence. I think Eddie's got that self-confidence. I like the fact that it looked like he was leaving Arsenal, let's be real. Arsenal weren't offering him a deal. Then he got into a position where he started scoring at the end of the season, and it was like, well, now that power shifted. Now I got the power because I'm performing. And there was teams, you know, circling around him. I think
including Palace.
Yeah.
Palace desperately wanted him.
Like teams like Palace, I think Newcastle, like Everton.
Reading, Brighton.
Yeah, these kind of teams, they would have easily signed him because he's a good player. I think he's excited, but I think the reality is he's still not a starter at Arsenal. But if he has that self-confidence and when he comes on, he's scoring and he continues the form he had last season, he could be a starter. But I'm happy for him, man. He showed like mental toughness.
Yeah.
You know, he could have left and could have like, you know, just left the club and said, you know what, I don't want to be here no more. But he showed mental toughness. He's gone into the gym. He's trained hard. He's come back. He's had a strong pre-season.
Yes, he has.
And hopefully he can have a good season again, like from what he left off last year.
Do you think the only thing with Arsenal, right, is that, you know, I'm really, really glad that Eddie's got a chance. I'm so happy with Jesus. But the one thing I look at sometimes in the striking position is there's no kind of, like when you used to play, right? I remember you when you was playing. You was a bit of a, you put yourself about there.
Yeah.
You're a bit, you know, you're a tall guy. You're a big guy. You put yourself about there. You use your height. You use it in the aerial battles, and we don't really have that option, do we? At Arsenal, that's the only one thing
And that's why I was saying, like, if you look at Man City now, they've added that because they didn't have that either.
And so have Liverpool, haven't they?
Yeah, so they've got.
We've gone with what they normally go with, which is like
it's false nine,
false nines, this, that. And
no, they've gone the opposite. Because I think when you get to that pinnacle, you know, sometimes you look at, like, there was games where, you know, you see City playing Liverpool, and sometimes it's like they keep doing the same thing. They keep trying to work the ball into the box, but sometimes you just want to put the ball into an area and say, "There's my striker, go and head it."
Oh, they like somebody like an Ivan Toney or somebody like that.
I mean,
somebody with a bit of presence.
Ivan Toney had a good season, to be fair. I'm not sure he's Arsenal's style, but he's still a very good player. Like I said, I would like to see that guy at Napoli come. I think he's good. I think now Arsenal need to be. I mean, there's some players in Germany with like the minimum fee release clauses, right? I think you need to start looking at who's they can get, because I think if you're looking at any kind of top player now, you're going to be spending the better part of
another player
100 million. You know, that's one thing that
you should be like the Japanese.
Do you know what I mean? That's one thing.
The Japanese league. You should be like the Japanese scout.
That's one thing that the Japanese don't produce is like good strikers. They produce like good like fullbacks, wingers, like number 10s. I think a lot of them kind of play in that kind of way. But there's still a lot of very good players there. But I think it's just difficult for them to get visas here in England. That's why some of them now are going to Scotland. And doing well again.
Yeah, the ones that were Celtic.
They're doing really well. But again, man, we're here on our AFTV, and man, I'm looking forward to the season, I have to say. But I'm excited about it. But for me, the minimum is Champions League.
Minimum.
330 million spent on his squad. Arteta spent on his squad. I think everyone needs to see results now. You know, I hear Ty and people speak, and you know, he's always giving Arsenal and Arteta the benefit of the doubt. But I need to see results.
Yeah.
You know, I need to see Arsenal in the Champions League. I want to hear that music. You know, I want to see them squaring off against the best teams in the world. You know, I'm not interested in Europa League. Don't get me wrong. I think a great season this year, the best season I think would be Champions League football and a cup. But I think to begin with, I think the main focus would be Champions League football.
Okay. I'm going to leave with this comment here. Raul says, Jay needs to be back again. A great guest on, Robbie. You've got to bring him back 100%.
Thank you, man.
Right.
I've been getting pelters on my Instagram, so it's nice to see this positivity now.
Listen, people want to hear from people like you. It's been fantastic that you've come in. Really been a pleasure to have you here. Yeah. We want you back.
I'm coming. I'm up the road, man. I'm still in North London, you know.
Well, listen, man.
I'm still in North London.
Please, we want to make you give you a regular spot here where you come in, and because you can give us a real insight. And plus as well,
you're going to pay me?
I don't think I can. Them footballer wages.
You started there, man. Why are you starting with four?
It's the footballer wages, man. I can't, you know what I mean? I can't match that, you know what I mean?
I'm joking. No, it's a pleasure, man. I'll come and do that, man. It's nice.
Jay Bothroyd, listen, thank you very much for coming on. Listen, we're really, really looking forward to the game tomorrow. We've got a big watch along for it. We're going to be doing a watch party for it, right? So there'll be a load of us in the studio watching the game, and we're all praying for a win. Don't forget to check out all of our preview stuff as well. And also, I'll be back in the morning with Transfer Daily. Subscribe here to AFTV, and also don't forget, I said it at the start of the show, a chance to win that PS5 that you see in the background there, plus 3 brand new Arsenal shirts courtesy of our friends at Midnite. just click the link in the description to enter the competition on Instagram. Do it now as soon as this show has finished and get involved. Brand new PS5 and the 3 new Arsenal shirts, which all look really, really nice. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.